Yes.
Okay.
Everyone, it's recorded.
5:08, I call the meeting to order. I want to start out saying we don't currently have a quorum, so we will skip any items for approval until another member is present. And then we'll move on to item number 2, welcome and introductions. Heather Rubio, current chair, and I represent the business community currently. And I figure we can just kind of go around this way and then welcome everybody.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Leticia Munguia, and I was appointed in 2024 as a member at large for all of Chula Vista Elementary. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, Jonathan Salzman. This is my first meeting, new to the committee, and I believe I'm also a member at large or a parent, both, and pleased to be here.
My name is Elizabeth Uribe, and I am new to the committee as well. This is my first meeting, and I am here to represent parents, community, and my children in Silverwing Elementary.
Everyone, Mark Pong, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services.
Bernie Faustina, I'm Director of Fiscal Services.
Jessica Mascareno, Business Services and Support Specialist.
I'm Tom Silva, I'm the Interim Director for Planning, Facilities and Maintenance.
Welcome everyone, we're excited to have you. I think we don't have any more outstanding applications, correct? We have everybody,
Yeah.
all vacancies have, perfect. And then I'm gonna move on, I'm gonna skip item number 3 because we need quorum to approve the minutes from the previous May 7th meeting. Then I'm gonna move to item 4 because you can do the ICOC orientation, the
Yes.
Independent Citizens Oversight Committee.
Yes. Well, welcome to our new members. Tonight we have, for your information, just a brief orientation of kind of what the roles of the committee are, what are some of the laws that govern this committee, such as Proposition 39, the Brown Act, and then just a little bit more on what's the committee's responsibilities. So we'll review what the California law is on bonds and the Citizens Oversight Committee, the makeup of the committee, our reporting responsibilities, what the Brown Act is, and our current ballot measures that we're reviewing as a committee. So under California law, there's Proposition 39, which was passed in November of 2000, which gave a lower threshold for general obligation bonds to 55%. Previously, general obligation bonds had to pass by 2/3 vote, so 66.6%. But under Proposition 39, it lowered the threshold for the approval requirement with the caveat that they had added some requirements. So under Proposition 39, the bonds have to be for repairs, construction, or replacement of school facilities. It prohibits the use of bond proceeds for salaries or operating expenditures. It authorizes property taxes ad valorem by 55% vote. And then finally, it adds the requirement of an annual performance and financial audit. And this committee is also a requirement. It's under 66%. There's not the requirement of an oversight committee. So the makeup, we have the representatives here. There's a requirement to have at least 7 members. So 1 from a business organization, 1 from a senior citizen organization, 1 from a taxpayers organization, 2 parents. So 1 that's just of a child enrolled in the district and 1 that's also active in a parent-teacher organization, and then 2 at-large members. Those that are ineligible to serve are district employees. So all of us, we're not part of the committee, we're just support for the committee. Any officials of the districts, any board members are not eligible to serve on the committee. And then any vendors or contractors or consultants of the district, that would be a conflict of interest. So they're not allowed to be part of the committee either. The committee members, you're allowed to serve 2-year 2-year terms, and it's you can serve no more than 3 consecutive terms. So the 2 that just left the committee, they had served their 3 consecutive terms. So
So they're just gonna leave for a year.
Yeah. So as others term out, they can come back to. What are the ICOC's reporting requirements? So there's 4 main reporting requirements. The ICOC ensures that bond funds are expended on construction, reconstruction, habilitation, or replacement of school facilities, or the acquisition or lease of real property for schools, as it relates to the bond measures. So we'll see in future slides that each bond measure has certain criteria that the district is allowed to spend the money on based on the bond language that the voters approved. That bond funds are not used on any teachers or administrative salaries or operating expenditures. And then the ICOC also reviews the annual financial and performance audit. And then annually, the ICOC also makes a report to the governing board. The ICOC also, has other optional items that they are under their purview. They do site visitations, so to help you verify that these are all eligible bond expenditures. We try and do site visitations. So at the last meeting, we went to Lindo to view kind of how Lindo currently is, and then we'll do another meeting there either during construction and after. So a little bit about the Brown Act. The Brown Act governs public meetings. So we do have to have quorum to be able to vote in the meetings, which is a majority. So since we're a 8-person committee, then there has to be 5 members present. Our agendas have to be posted and noticed within 72 hours of the meeting. So we don't really have special meetings too often. The only time in my past experience that I run into having to have a special meeting with the ICOC was we had to approve the annual report, and we didn't meet quorum like the first time around, so we had to reschedule and have a special meeting.
Sometimes a sidewalk could be. I think we did that.
Yeah, or a sidewalk. But a special meeting has a 24-hour notice requirement. Another item under the Brown Act is that the public is allowed to comment on the agenda or anything that's under the purview of the ICOC.
We've had a public comment before.
And then just some other things about a meeting. So a meeting is anything where we have quorum. We want to be careful about we have quorum and we're conducting business. So we want to be careful, like when Jessica sends out the email with the agenda. We don't want to reply all, because that can be seen as a meeting over the internet. Another thing is there's been recent legislation around social media. So if one of us posts something on social media and then others start liking it or commenting on it, then that can also be seen as a meeting. And then what's not a meeting is something like at a social gathering, or sometimes the ICOC, they'll come to one of our ribbon cuttings. That's more of like a ceremony or a celebration, not really conducting business. So that wouldn't be seen as a meeting. So it's okay for everyone to be at the same location. So we just want to be careful wherever there can be 5 people that we're not discussing ICOC business. Right, we do have 3 ballot measures that the committee reviews. So the first one is Measure BB, which was passed in 2018. And a lot of the language is the same from the ballot measure, so I won't read all of that, but you'll have it for your notes later. But this one was passed just under 68% vote. Again, the 55% was the threshold. And this was an extension of the proposition JJ. So this one was at a assessed valuation of about no more than $20 per 100,000. Our second measure is Measure M, which was passed in March of 2020, and this one passed just over the 55% threshold. You can see here 55.4, and this one was at a not to exceed rate of $30 per 100,000 assessed valuation. And then our latest one, Measure AA, was passed by voters in November 2024. This one passed at a 62% rate. Oops. And this one was at a not to exceed $29 per 100,000. That's the end of the orientation and just general overview of the ICOC and the role. Are there any questions or anything?
Is this not to exceed 25-year amortization? So all these are active now, and all the $20 per 100,000, the $30 per 100,000, that's all like concurrent, so it's additive, so it's about maybe $80 per 100,000 right now.
If we were at the limit, yes.
Okay. But it's not necessarily, it's just
No.
depending
We'll
on that.
see on the project summary what's outstanding in terms of issuances.
It's not, so all the money hasn't been taken out yet.
Okay.
So the district can, but they haven't taken all the money out yet, because they take it out like as they use it.
That's expensive.
So when they do take it all out, it'll be $80 per 100,000.
Okay.
Right, because none of them is an addition. And then doesn't one of them replace a current?
Yeah.
The first one, yeah, was an extension.
It extended
Yeah.
JJ, so basically it wasn't a new, it was an extension.
Right, it just,
So-
we've been paying it and then it added.
So voters were already paying that, so it was extending that.
But you're right, if all the bonds were issued, we'd be over $80, 30, 50,
Something like that.
yeah. Exactly, for $100 of the value of your home.
Sorry.
Okay, just curious.
So the next ballot measure.
Mhm.
This is like a general idea as to how it applies or how it's being used, is that?
Mhm.
If I wanted more understanding as to how the money has been used since 2018,
Mhm.
is that accessible?
That's what we're about to see. Whenever we're ready. Yeah.
I have to. Well, first, thank you, that was a good one. But if you guys have other questions, there's also some bylaws that you can look at. Because last year we went through the bylaws.
Yeah, I think Jessica printed them out for everyone.
Oh, so they are in there. Yeah, so they're detailed kind of exactly how, if you have any questions. And then, so we'll move on to the summary reports for each of the measures, VB, M, and AA. So, this will show us how much has been taken out for each bond and what work has been done to date. Does this also go into what's planned?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so for our measure VB, we have a total authorization of 150 million. So of that, we've issued 100 million. So we still have 50 million to issue under this measure VB. Under measure M, this had an authorization of 300 million, and we issued 112.5 million. We have about 187.5 million remaining to be issued still. Our latest one, measure AA, we have an authorization of 360 million, which we have not issued under this one yet. So that $30 isn't reflected anywhere on anyone's tax bill yet until we issue. It'll be a portion of that $30.
Not the full amount, but the proportionate share based on what was issued.
So just a summary of what we've spent for the 2018 and 2020 measures. To date, so we operate on a fiscal year. We operate from July 1 to June 30th. So just for the current fiscal year or school year, we have spent under Measure M just over 18,000. So there's two projects that we've had expenditures there, which is HVAC and roofing replacement at Roar, and the violin dome modernization. Those two.
Aurora, yeah, okay.
Violin dome modernization, 13,000 or 14,000.
Wait, this is for which Measure M and VB?
This is for BB, yes.
That's where you've only issued, where you've issued
Sorry,
100,000.
Yes. So Measure M, 18,000.
Yeah, I understand.
And this is only from July 1 through September 5th. Under Measure VB, we have our auto filling station, which we installed one at every school site over the summer.
Wait, Mark, sorry to interrupt. You really installed one, because I still have text about PTAs trying to get water filling stations. There's one at every single site?
Yes.
Huh.
Some are wanting to add additional.
They want to add additional, but
Is
they
that what's
don't.
going on? Okay.
It's a little confusing because we did only one per site.
I saw, yeah.
The new ones. And we've talked about the plans to do the rest, but it's a lot more intensive. And that's where the schools are, that's where we're getting in.
More. Okay, because I was like, there's this whole
Yeah,
dialogue. Just wanted to understand that. Okay, so is there a water filling station at your school?
Yeah.
So, okay, we all got water filling stations. We appreciate it.
I think we have one at each school.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's great. That's a big thing. And you guys are able to do that, just like get them all done this last fiscal year, just recently. Okay. Security
The
cameras.
security cameras, that project is wrapping up. We just have our transportation yard that has to be installed.
So that again, hit every single school in the district?
Yes.
Do you guys have security cameras at every school?
Mhm.
Okay. There we go. It's very exciting.
Our Tiffany roofing and HVAC replacement project, a lot of that work was done this summer. So about just under 450,000 on that project. We do have some playground renovations going on. So these were some payments just for the parts. We're still awaiting the install of those.
Can you get us pictures of that?
Yes.
Okay.
So about 976,000 on Measure VB.
Great, Mark.
Spent from July to September. When we look at Measure VB and Series A, we had issued 64 million, and so far we've spent just under 60 million of that amount. And these are projects that happened in prior fiscal years. So Sunnyside was modernized. We did LED projects across the district, some fire alarm replacements, network equipment. Vista, the charter school was modernized. Some other roofing and HVAC replacements. Our Maxwell Transportation Center, our bus yard was constructed, and then our bottle filling stations. So what we have planned is finalization of our security camera project. So that project cost is about 782,000. Our playground renovations, about 2.6 million. And this one is a new project, flooring replacement. So we're replacing carpets at 2 of our schools throughout the whole school, Aurora, Vista, and Florida Lincoln.
You have the rest, sorry. You issued 100,000 for Metro VB, right?
This is the bond anticipation note.
Oh, only
Oh.
the first half, the bond,
Sorry,
okay.
yes.
I was like, there was 100,000 now, yeah, okay. That, so, got it.
So then we'll see here. Sorry, this was the 100 million that we issued. So we paid back.
Marty, why did you guys do a bond anticipation now?
I think because there were a lot of projects that we needed to get done and we couldn't wait for the first issuance.
Oh, okay,
So
just,
we decided
You
to-
didn't have the AV at the time to do the first
And that's
issue.
probably what it is.
oh,
That's what
okay.
it was, so
Sarah didn't have the assessment.
that was a tough time, remember? When
Oh, I guess it's
So,
true.
Yeah.
That's 2008, I'm sorry, this is
Yeah.
far back, never mind, I got it.
You remember that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought it was like, because I was trying to figure it out.
just our committee members.
But it says
know,
20
a ban is a bond anticipation note. So we issued this 50-60 million in anticipation of a future issuance. So and then once we issue it, we repay the bond anticipation note that we had issued previously. So there could be certain circumstances where, it might not be the right timing to issue a bond, like let's say markets are kind of fluctuating a lot, or like Tom had mentioned, there might not be enough assessed evaluation at that time, so we might have to be waiting to issue. But there's different scenarios where that might be the case.
There is a high risk tied to it, and we don't go into that lightly, prudent. It's not just Mark and the rest of us, but our legal counsel and bond counsel is involved. So we took a very conservative approach with the likelihood that the worst case scenario can be never done. So in this case, Chula still felt like, no, we can live with this issue, knowing that when it does come in, we'll pay it back. And so that projected interest that a ban comes with, it's like a balloon payment. It's minimized if you pay it real quick. So that, I believe, is what happened here. So it was it turned out in our favor. It could have been real bad if we had a prolonged recession and other things happened. So.
Can I ask a few questions? Just
Yeah, of
because
course.
some of the
At any point
mechanics
you
of
can
this-
stop us.
Okay, thank you. No, some of the mechanics of this, I'm not quite sure I understand just kind of how it works. So, these numbers, the 150 million and, 100 million issued, and then the 25-year time period, is that, I'm just trying to kind of piece it together, is it like you have authorization to issue bonds for up to 150 million within this 25-year span of time? Anytime within 25 years after, this is authorized in 2018, so anytime in the next 25 years, you can issue bonds and the cumulative value of those bonds can't exceed 150 million? Is that
So
right?
Tom, correct me, or, tackle this together, but usually when we issue the bonds, it's for a life of 25 years. So
Bonds are
we're
25
repaying
When
it
you
over
issue it,
25
that's
years.
what, yeah.
Okay.
So you're almost right. The 25-year period doesn't trigger until you sell your first note.
Okay.
Okay. The bond authorization, once it's there, it's there. There are other things, we can't run out there and issue immediately $100 million because we don't have, there's other mechanics that govern, like a car has a governor, you can't go beyond certain miles an hour. This will not allow us to exceed a certain threshold, mainly to keep us fiscally prudent and stable. So once we issue it, then that's when the 25-year period starts.
So that's when that,
So it
whatever, up
fluctuates.
to 20, up to $30 per 100,000, you start applying that to.
That gets applied immediately, and the county treasurer is very, very careful to make sure and ensure that we don't exceed that limit. If something comes up that looks like we're planning to sell and it might exceed, we'd have to get certain approvals and thresholds and immediately get right back down into that thing. Because once those notes are issued and investors buy the notes from us, we have to pay them back. And,
Yeah.
And that $30, $29, $20 limit that we say, that's what tells us, okay, we're gonna go this amount, so we can pay back this amount to them and be safe.
So
Yeah.
so like in this case, you're authorized for 150 million, but
Yeah.
if you took that, you would exceed the $20 per 100,000 assessed value.
If we did it immediately.
If we did it immediately, it would.
So
We
you
don't
have
do it
to-
immediately because it keeps it in there.
You have to stay at the 20 though.
So you got the two constraints, you got the 150 million, then you got the $20 per 100,000. And then so these were issued in 2018, is there a expiration on like when you can take that? Like, or is it just in perpetuity, like once you get to 150 million, you're cut off? Or is it like you have to issue these $150 million worth of bonds within the next X number of years?
There's not a timeline, but
I don't think
you know,
there's a
if it,
timeline.
if it goes beyond, sometimes I'll ask the community to reauthorize it.
Yeah.
But that's what reauthorization means.
Okay.
Like, you know, maybe the district had money sitting for like 20 years that it didn't issue, they might go back out to the committee to the community to ask to reauthorize those bonds.
Let me put another thing that might help answer this. Once we issue the notes, we do have a timeline to spend them. So we've got that, otherwise we'll have to pay certain penalties because we'll be generating interest on money that's public money, which we don't want to do. You know, we can't have any earned interest to go back. So we have to pay it back in a certain year or we pay penalties. So we avoid that to play. That helps us in limiting how much we issue out there. So we're always protecting people, but I don't think there's a deadline. Have you ever heard of one? No.
No, especially because you guys
Yeah.
voted on 3
Yeah.
separate bond measures to continue to like allow that assessed value. So I
Right.
think there'll always be a need. And I just want to add this. I know we don't have it, but maybe, is it online? There's a facilities needs that was conducted.
Yes,
And so
that's
there's
online.
this, every site, like list of projects and that dollar amount exceeds all of this. So if, as far as projects the district has and needs work on, I don't even remember the total amount that facilities needs said, but it was greater.
I don't remember that off the top of my
But
head
it was,
either.
it's a
big
it
number.
exceeds this, and that's kind of why, but those are good questions. I've never seen a bond run out of time. I don't know if that can be a thing. Have you? I don't think so.
I've not seen where it's run out of time. I consult with other districts, and I've had some very conservative districts that have expired their bond. They said, okay, we're not gonna do it anymore, and they take the legal thing to go back, you know.
Because you get money from the state for
Right.
projects, or they got
Yeah.
money from another source, and so they decided they don't wanna.
They don't wanna spend any more and have any
taxpayers.
more taxes on it.
Yeah.
So I've seen that happen very, very, I wanna say rarely. You just have one client right now that's seriously thinking of doing that. They just passed it on this last November that we had it. It was a small amount compared to what we have. For them, it's big. It's $3 million. Once we spend that, they're looking at expiring everything. We'll pay it back, but we're not gonna spend another dime. Or if we're less, if our projects come in less than that, they're gonna enter it. Because they just really don't wanna have it on the tax bill. So I've seen, that's weird. Borrego, Springs has done that many years ago. So, same kind of thing.
I don't know, I've never thought about it.
Yeah,
So I guess,
one other thing
will we
too.
never not see this on our tax bill? I don't know.
One of the other things, and this is on your tax bills on the write-up, okay, the 3 bonds there, before it goes out there, we have to take into account prior approvals and outstanding debt, so that limit is lower. We might have a capacity to go say, we could do 300 or 400 million, but it's scaled back based on what we've already issued. So we're never over exceeding, or we're not double dipping on anything for the voters.
How does that, just kind of, sorry, just getting oriented, how does, just out of curiosity, so with these 3 bond measures, and then you issue notes or, bonds against them, and then you accumulate up to
The maximum limit? Yeah.
say you're at $20 out of your $30 for that bond per 100,000, you're on a 25-year payback schedule.
Yeah.
So you are, so that's interesting, okay.
You go to the voters for a new bond.
Yeah.
That's what they did. Because they,
You mean if you don't, if you don't do everything, or if what?
Well, I just mean, so now you are, you've taken the money, you've improved facilities, now you're paying it off for the next 25 years, but you've limited your
Yeah,
ability, so you're kind of balancing, okay,
Yeah.
let's keep enough in reserve for future versus,
no,
So you have to think about it kind of like a home loan.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
we're taking the money out in advance and we're getting the money to improve our facilities.
we do the
And then
improvement,
we're paying it back over 25 years, the improvements.
because, I mean, just like, the first kind of, when I was looking at this and trying to understand this, like, if we've had this for 7 years now, we've spent 100 out of 150 million. I'm sure that there's another $50 million of needs easily. What would be the reason of not having spent that? You know,
It's a cash flow thing, so we have the cash.
Yeah.
We'll see in a little bit.
Okay.
Kind of what you're looking at.
But I understand what you're saying, so,
Yeah, I understand.
right, so you're not issuing the 50 million, you're not, because it comes back to assessed value.
Right.
And what you can go out there in the bond market, so you can only, so that's why they go out for a whole nother bond, and it
Yeah,
makes the taxpayers
if you've
approve
reached,
it.
if you've reached your capacity in
So
the.
you have to approve another
AV,
$30.
Yeah, like you said, if you reach your capacity in the assessed value limit, but you still have quote authorization in there but untouched, you can't touch it. until
Isn't that what
you do
happened to us on the first one?
I think it's happened, I don't know if here, but I know Sweetwater ran into that. And in San Isidro, we did too. So we issued a COPS to pay for it later on. So it's difficult. Or you say, okay, we're gonna stop this one and get a whole new bond, if the voters approve it, then it expires, the other one takes over.
Yeah, so we work with our financial advisors on,
It depends on,
you know, all these timing of the issuances, because there is that.
It is difficult to comprehend.
no, but I understand what he's saying, you have
Yeah.
all this money now, why aren't we doing all the projects
Yeah.
and getting it all done, using the full amount? Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, just the basic question is like,
Yeah.
we,
That's
voters
a
have
very
got
good
this much money in 2018. I'm sure that, there's plenty of projects that could have spent it by now. Why is it not been like fully utilized? And that's what I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around of why would it, I mean,
Well, we're in the process of using that,
Yeah.
using it, so,
There's so many
you know, we
different
have these
factors that
projects in
contribute
the
to that.
pipeline.
Could be staffing, personnel, changes that may occur to where you just can't get it off the ground yet. And so,
so just,
All of our projects have to go through the Division of State
Sure.
Architects, so, there's, like right now, we're planning for Violindo.
Mhm.
We've been in the planning process and the construction still won't even start till next summer. So,
But I mean, I think he's getting something there, I will say this, there has been poor planning in the last couple of years at the facilities level, as far as getting not now, but
I
prior.
didn't want to say that, but
But I mean, there has been, and so you're on to something, and that has been
That's
an
right.
issue, yeah.
I was gonna say staffing has been a consistency in just staffing this committee. There's a lot of.
and COVID happened in between all of that too,
Yeah, I was
so.
gonna say, there's a lot of
we had a lot of
considerations.
retirements, a lot of other issues come here in the district.
But your
Yeah.
observation is not
So-
incorrect, there could have been a lot, projects
Yeah.
could have been a lot further along in the last couple of years.
okay, well, I was more just kind of like, is there like
Yeah, yeah.
a financial
Why isn't there
constraint
more?
or timing thing that I'm kind of not understanding, but it sounds like,
We're
I
tap
mean,
dancing. Yeah, no,
I get it.
so,
I work for the city of Chula Vista in the
okay.
engineering department and like oversee pretty much now all of our new facility construction, so like fire stations and rec centers and stuff, so I understand like, it's tough to deliver projects, but I was just trying to understand like if it was, just
If you're sitting on 150 million, why aren't you using it?
Yeah.
or like what, if it was on purpose, if there was some kind of constraint with assessed value versus how much is being spent or anything like that, so, okay.
I mean, it's a combination of that too,
I think there's some factors that came out of that.
but I agree, but there is a lot of stuff moving, that's why we're really impressed with the stuff
Yeah, we're
that's
really
happening.
happy that we're seeing movement.
No, that's great, I'm just,
The
I'm not trying to,
cameras
I'm just trying to understand,
We appreciate the observation.
No, it's a quick one.
Any other, yeah,
I have a
there's,
question. So if you can, I know you're about to explain this as well,
Mhm.
Mark. I'm just looking at Proposition 39,
Mhm.
and if you can help me understand the relationship to the way we're spending or using the funds under,
where it says children have access to learning tools in the 21st century like computers and internet.
can you just point out to me if we've already done that? Because there's some titles that I don't know exactly if that means for the district, for the individual
Mhm.
school. If you could highlight, that's.
yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
But those are just options.
These are optional.
It's all depends on what's in the bond language, is what we can spend on.
Okay.
So network equipment,
Yeah.
so this is our infrastructure. So a lot of our large technology infrastructure that we're replacing, that's what like switch gears, network servers, those kind of things. They're all really expensive items that we go through in technology. So we have that
It
plan
directly
now.
relates to the classroom and the programs.
So our internet connectivity and all that.
Do you mean like your website?
No,
Or-
it'd be more like the
Yeah.
routers, the
Yeah,
big
it's a little more
switches,
operational.
all the things that make that work. So
On site at the school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
some on site, some over centralized.
Yeah,
some
really
that-
very centralized office, yeah.
Has to be construction related.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this guide is really important. Jessica gave it to us. It actually
Oh,
talks to you
that's
about,
where
oh, you got it?
I'm-
Yeah,
Directly
yeah.
at
It
it.
walks us right through.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
it's
got.
more,
But-
yeah, it's more of the infrastructure, the hardwiring.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that
Yeah.
all of our money can only go to capital projects. So,
I wanted a definition of technology in the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
that's a good
agree.
question.
Okay,
It's hard to figure out
yeah,
because
okay.
we think of it as just like a laptop.
Yeah.
But then it's, yeah, cause it's the,
I didn't know if that included like software and what type of software, like iReady and.
Oh, yeah, no, all of
No,
that's
see,
part of the
that's a-
operational
that's a-
budget, yeah.
Operations.
So then our switch gears, which is on the mainframes at our schools. Our security access control, this is a buzzer system. So now we're going out to bid for this project, so we'll have a buzzer system.
is that gonna be
At
every
school.
school site that safety training, so they have to buzz in to get to the front office, right?
Correct.
Actually, the bid goes out Friday, hits the street Friday.
Security alarm replacement, so this is like the alarm system for the whole school that reports to the police. And we're looking at two new modernizations coming up. So we have Lauder Park Elementary and Cook Elementary to finish out this issuance. Yeah, for sure. Modernization
Great
is,
questions. Really good questions.
yeah, so we have modernization and then there's reconstruction. Modernization is really bringing the school up to the current code and giving it like a facelift. So a lot of the major work is like HVAC, roofing, carpeting.
Painting.
ADA compliance, I think is a
Yeah.
good one too.
And kind of accessibility.
So
Maybe a little bit of wiring for low voltage, if they say we have this kind of a program, we need that. It's not a major reconstruction, it's just,
Right.
You guys are, what do you guys, so, is your school, are you guys redoing, you guys are re-sectioning?
at Violindo,
Yeah, that's a modernization too, but you're,
right?
that
That
actually
one's kind of
started,
a hybrid.
yeah.
it's a new school slash.
Part of it, yeah.
Well, you want me
You
to
can explain it.
It started off as a heating and air conditioning project and roofing. That school was built in 1961, round structure. Code, met code at the time, and we were able to do stuff. When we came in to do what we needed to do for the HVAC systems, the structure couldn't handle it. We had to rebuild it, and all of a sudden, it triggered a whole bunch of other parts of the code. And so we immediately said, look, it's not gonna work. We either do nothing, or we just decide to abandon what would be a maintenance project and turn it into a modernization. And so, planning wise, it throws our budget into a tizzy. Because we were looking at $9 to $12 million, now we're looking at 25, 30 million maybe. But it's because of the condition of the site. Once you dig into it, then you have to pivot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, whenever we start looking at the projects, there's always unknowns going into it. So this was one of the unknowns with that one. It was going to trigger all kinds of seismic upgrades. And if we were to move forward with just modernizing that building alone, it's more efficient to replace the building versus.
You guys are replacing the whole building?
the wrong one.
Oh, wow.
Well, even the classroom, okay, that was built originally as a
No, I know,
round.
it's kind of hard to go around.
Well, it was a collaborative workspace, and somewhere in time, the district added classrooms. Those classrooms don't meet the size standards for Department of Ed. Your standard classroom is 960 square feet, 30 by 32 feet, or 24 by 40 in size for portables. they're less than 800 square feet. Because of the roundness, we said we need so many classrooms, we just divided it up and made it. It's working well, teachers are doing stuff in there, but it doesn't meet the current. So we decided to do a cost benefit analysis and very quickly decided it's just, not worth wasting the money on this and just tear it down and start one.
Oh, wow, so it's gonna be a completely different look.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one part of the campus that's remaining, though.
Yeah,
Which part is that?
500 building, the
The
portal.
north side, that's the north side.
The north side, yeah.
Like, when you're looking at it this way, don't make
When you,
this
when,
way.
when you drive into the
When you
campus,
drive up, is it to the right or
when
the
you drive
left?
into the campus right now, it's on the left-hand side.
By that person's random garden?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, that whole site's gonna change
Was
because
that the school district's garden or that person, like, is someone's backyard?
it's actually a district.
Oh.
That's a challenge because he's encroached not only on ours, but on the city's easement out there. So we have to really get tough and it's difficult.
Yeah.
But that whole site is in the floodplain, so we're mitigating that, making sure that we have drainage that works for all of us. We're reorienting the whole approach to the driveway so the buses can go in and out. Right now, we have a lot of people impacting the road right there, so we're getting them all off campus so that they can drive in and out. They're getting them off the street and on campus, so significant.
Wow.
Yes. Our goal on that is to get into the state architect by the end of October.
Oh, wow.
And there's a reason, we're that far along in terms of the conceptual, moving to this, schematic and so forth, and design development phase. But more importantly, come January 1, other codes kick into place
Right.
that will really impact us financially.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're meeting code, we don't want, the other codes are not code changes so much as they are evaluation of structural and other things that's going to add to this if we don't have to do them right now, but we don't want to be hit with it later.
Any other
Forgive me,
questions?
I'm not sure what's all appropriate to talk about the meeting,
Okay. Yeah.
but if hey, that's not appropriate, just let me know. I mean, that's actually, my wife teaches there and my kids go to Lindo. And I was kind of just curious, one of the things that came up is keeping those temporary buildings and where they are in their lifespan. I mean, I know temporary is temporary, right? You're doing a whole new project, I mean, just in my experience, it's always cheaper to include more scope rather than do a separate project later. And just wondering where those are in their life cycle. I mean, I think just from being there and looking, I mean, I guess they're 10 plus years old, and I don't know what the design life on those is, probably 20-ish, right? So, has that been kind of I'm sure that you've looked at that, but it just seems like from my point of view, it's if you're going to do it, you're going to shut it down, you're going to take the school out of commission, and then have another task to do in a short time later,
Just, you hit the right thing, because we've asked that same thing in-house. And portables are designed to last 25 years. They can go up to 50, but after 20, 25, 30 years, we have to start putting in new carpeting, this. I mean, it's made to be affordable for a reason.
Yeah.
And so it comes to the question, how much money do you want to throw away? I mean, I've seen some that have been there for 70 years, some for 60. They can spend a lot of money on this particular one. Just last week or the week before, we had taken cameras and gone under the structural to look at that, because our structural engineer had the same question: what are we doing here? Do we have to keep this? We're keeping that portable building, but we're reconfiguring it. So the classrooms are going to be walls joined together, taken out to make transitional kindergarten space, other things, restrooms, major upgrades. So we looked at the structural to see what we can do, what is it like, and the camera feed and the information we got looked pretty good. The structural engineers analyzed that, looked back at the calculations of the building, and came up to the determination that, yep, you're fine. We could make a facelift out of it and have it work. Because our thinking was we almost have the tail wagging the dog. A lot of that design that we're doing, the redesign, is kind of working around that building. that building wasn't there, it might be a little easier.
Working around
Yeah,
temporary buildings.
yeah.
Do you guys get community input for these kind of big projects like Lauterbach, or what's the other one?
We do.
You do, okay, so there was kind of a forum of sorts with the people who.
For about.
Well, that part not
Yeah.
yet.
Not yet,
Yeah, but we
No.
had the staff input
Yeah.
meetings,
Staff input.
but not the
I mean, I
community
know
ones
it's like
yet.
the school site, but school, I'm just thinking of the parents and have you guys ever done, I don't know, I guess I've never asked about
We-
that.
Let me answer this a different way. The next round, Lauterbach, Cook, Palomar, is, we did an architect selection. We have 4 firms that we can pick from that were approved as a pool of consultants to use. And of that, we were able to pick the new architects for that series as well as one for some. And so, just today I was on the phone with him, and we're gonna start our kickoff meetings next week to talk about the bigger picture. We want to make sure we have in there programming and planning, community meetings, staff meetings, how we're going to roll this out. So the answer is yes, we do that, but we have to set it up way in advance. Because rather than just start off as an HVAC project, you don't really need that. But then once it started morphing, it's like, oh my God, we got to get more input on this.
The parents are like, we could have told you.
I'm sorry?
Other questions?
I was just laughing because I was like, I'm sure the parents at the school could have told you that about
Yeah.
the school before.
Yeah.
But I know, there's a whole facilities, we saw it, you guys have a lot of facilities meetings. But, okay, sorry, thank you guys for all those explanations, we appreciate it. It's really exciting, 'cause there's a lot.
I'll keep quiet.
No, it's just, there's a lot of projects and a lot of movement, so that's wonderful, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah,
is
big
oversight.
progress.
Yeah,
So this next slide is on our Maxwell Transportation Center. So this is one that we're closing out. So we had an initial budget of 16.6 million. In total, it came in at 16.4 million. So just under 200,000 savings on this one as we close that out. So these are the existing projects right now that we have and how much we've spent on each project under this measure VP. So we have budgeted about 44.6 million, 4.6 million spent to date.
wait, can you back?
Yeah, a lot of these, they're,
I was trying to look at the flooring replacement,
yeah, that one was just approved by the board. We went out to
the
bid and
last
the
meeting,
the
okay.
bid was just approved, so that'll be happening over the rest of the year.
What's the cost of 2 sites floor replacement?
I'm sorry?
That's 2 sites of floor, are you doing, that's all of their flooring?
The entire school.
Yeah.
Right, so measure M. Here we issued 50 million. We've already spent 43 million of that 50, and the rest is going towards the modernization project at Via Lindo. Then we have our next Series B for Measure M, 62.5 million. So the spillover from our Via Lindo project here. Right now, we're looking at 39 million for that renovation.
You know, I can't let you go past this without comment, right? Real quick, the artificial turfs are back? Were
No,
they-
that one was just on there already.
It was on there already, and it was, that project itself was approved at some point.
It looks like it, so I went and
Tried to find it.
located the, something went to the board for the approval of the contract for BBC, and it was called Rogers Athletic Field.
Okay, when was that?
It was, I believe, October of
2019?
2024.
Oh, really?
I found it.
Okay, so that was after I asked about it. Fair enough, I just wanna say. I was told at that meeting it was prior, and it wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
okay.
It wasn't you guys, it was a different group who said that there was a.
I have to, I know I found it, I printed it.
I mean, again, I wanna make it clear, I'm not anti-artificial turf, I just, there's a long list of projects that seem a little bit more pressing.
Yes.
Than football fields, but.
So that's why that one's been on hold for now.
And then the staff housing is still on hold too, or is that moving forward?
Correct. Yeah, that one's on hold right now. So we've been focusing more on the school modernizations.
Okay.
And these are the outstanding projects right now and how much we've spent. So just under 79 million in budget and 4.6 million spent so far. So we'll really start to see the spend down on Violindo once we start the construction. But right now it's just been a lot of architect fees.
If I could make a comment on Roar, we open bids tomorrow. For Roar, it's our goal on that is we are literally going to start some of what we can during the winter break, and so during the spring break, and then summer whatever we can't get. It's going to be a big project.
Yeah.
So you'll see that number shift from the 5 million back over the next.
Once we start spending.
Yeah.
How much of this bond is issued? Sorry guys, there's 3 bonds. We can't keep it all.
This one 112.
So it's out there, so the money is existing. So, okay. That being said, we have the money, but the staff housing and the field trips are on hold. So now we have money and projects that are budgeted or planned. Is there any plan, did I miss a plan of the board to change the projects so they can go forward? Did I miss something? I try to
There
listen to
hasn't been any
meetings,
direction from the board to change those projects.
Yeah.
but they're just on hold.
So then our upcoming projects, so these are the modernizations that we prioritize. So Tom, along with the facilities team, they visited these school sites, and these ones, we're kind of going by kind of the eligibility date of the modernization. So every 25 years, is it? The school becomes
20 to 25 years.
Yeah, becomes eligible for modernization. So we planned out the next 3 years, 4 years in the bond program for the major modernizations. So these would be scheduled to start in the summer. You know, we have to still work with the architects to determine whether we're able to do it all in one summer or if we have to phase it over the school year. But starting in summer 2027, we're looking at Cook, Lauterbach, and Palomar, which are the ones that we had saw allocated in those issuances. Then we're looking at summer 2026, Hillcrest, Rogers, and Valley Vista. And then summer 2029, Clearview, Loma Verde, and Silver Wing.
The reason why the modernization date for eligibility for funds became one of the higher criteria, we looked at the age of the building, we looked at the facility's condition index, how much would it cost to replace it versus to upgrade it. We took those 3 elements, did a weighted average of it, came out with a listing of what looks like it rises to the top. And the reason for the modernization eligibility date being such a higher weighted value is because we're leveraging our funds. Right now, we're planning on paying it all local dollars. And if we're applying for state funds, we'll get maybe 40%, maybe 30% back. We plow back in it, so our local dollars impact is lessened. That's why those went up to the top. We have a bunch of others down the list, but we're trying to bite off what we can reasonably get done within the time frame as well.
Yeah, so far we have architects, we just awarded contract for architect for the first phase, this first 3. And so, we'll see how
it plays out with
Yeah.
the same team or different teams and so forth. And that's what I was referencing, that next week we plan on meeting to do the kickoff and going. We got a lot going on.
When you say state and local funds, is that like state grants and then local funds is the bond measures or?
Almost every few years, there's a statewide bond measure on the ballot for schools, school bonds.
Okay.
And if that gets approved, that is the seed money for districts to get matching funds. So we take our local dollars, we apply to the state, and if A, we have to be eligible, B, we have to have certain hoops to go through. And C, the state has to have money there at the time that they issue it. Once we get in line, we're not going to see money immediately unless we have a whole lot of things that go in our favor. It may take 6 years. Once you apply for it and it all works out, you'll get money back. give you an example. I had a client where I did the applications for the modernization, and we did the project starting 2017. We finished them 2018, 2019. It was 2022 that I got the money from the state to repay our portion back. It took a while, but that was $6 million that we got.
So in this case, the bond operates like the bank, the bond is, so the bond fronts the money.
Yeah, the bond fronts the money,
Gets money
the
from the
state
state.
reimburses. And that's only because the need is so great at the state. It used to be in the 80s and 90s, it was a quicker time frame. You apply for it, you can get it within a year or two.
Yeah, so there's a line that we enter,
Yeah,
because, you know, it's throughout the
workload listing.
throughout the state, and obviously there's huge facility renovations going on throughout the state, so we get in
Yeah.
line, and then once they issue enough money at the state level, you know, we'll
Yeah.
receive it
We'll get that.
according to that, you know.
But that was our rationale for using that as one of the criteria. We can leverage our dollars back to us by getting reimbursement from the state.
So we pay out of the bond measure and then get reimbursed from the state bonds?
Only a portion.
Only a
of
portion,
it?
but I know where you're gonna go on this.
Well, I was just gonna ask, do the state bond have the same kind of restrictions, or does that just go into a different fund? You know what I mean, like the local bonds are
They
like
sometimes have restrictions.
restricted by facility, but do we pay like, you know what I mean, like?
The state has their own debt.
Yeah, that's a whole different debt.
I just mean like the, you know, like, this can't go to, staff, it can't go to
Correct.
operations.
Absolutely. Oh, it has to be, you're hundred percent.
Absolutely.
It has to be used on capital projects and it does get audited separately. So yes.
Actually, that
State
language,
money has similar
yep,
That's
similar
right,
criteria, so, okay.
and they actually state that in the statewide bond language, if you read long enough, it'll say it can only go for capital projects, can't go for salaries or operational costs. I thought you were going the other direction. It's like, okay, what happens if we get all the state money? Do we lower the tax debt to the voters? And the answer is you can. You go back to the voters to say, how do you want us to spend this if we got this extra money? I actually had to do that at Sweetwater. We wrote it into a lot of our Melrose district contracts and other things. We said, okay, now they got state money. We could do A, reimburse you back and we reduce the debt, or we go to other projects. And the one time I did that, we did it twice there. One time I did that, we actually did a tweener. We said, okay, this part will reduce the debt to each taxpayer, and we're going to reserve this other money, and that's how we built Rancho Del Rey and part of East Lake Mill. So, yeah.
So
Just
this
say that first.
is an example.
Sorry.
So Sunnyside, we modernized
Yeah, good example.
back in 2019, and we had spent 6.2 million. We received back in reimbursement $1 million. So that goes back into
Yeah.
the bond program. You know, Heather had mentioned we have the facility needs assessment that exceeds what we have authorized. So it goes to help fill some of that gap in that needs. That makes
That's
sense.
a great example.
Yeah, so you can either use it to pay down the bond or do new projects.
Invest in the program.
Invest back in program.
It has to be used on the same requirements as the bond. Yeah. All right, well, that was it for the current projects. Any other questions on that?
Sorry, and I just have to say this in the beginning of the year. There's a lot of projects, there's giant facilities needs, and there's a lot of money available. And I think the question has been and will be, and I just want to put it out there, and I know that you guys have changed staffing from the last board meeting, there's position changes, I know, Tom, we don't have you forever. Can our current program meet these needs? Like we wanna see these projects happen, right? The voters voted. Yeah, that we're paying the taxes and we wanna see these schools, we wanna see these playgrounds, we wanna see these things happening. And then I know there's a delay and there has been. I guess it is, like you said it many times just in this conversation alone, this is a big program. I guess can it, we're supposed to oversee it, right, as the oversight committee, and I guess that's one of the things is we want to make sure we worry,
That
I
we
just,
are on
that's it, yeah. And things are getting, I know.
And that's why we're trying to do 3 schools at a time, because we know that, you know, we have 49 schools.
Right, no, it's
So-
a big program, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we're moving forward with these and, that's 9 schools.
But I just saw-
Well,
I say this because they just took the position that was kind of an over, and then they,
chief operating officer,
yeah, and they took that out, right?
well,
No,
it's transitioning to.
we lowered it down to a senior director, so we're still gonna hire someone to replace the position.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be solely focused on facilities and maintenance operations
Oh.
versus having to also oversee like transportation and child nutrition.
Then at what point do you pull from outside? I'm just saying, kind of to get these projects,
We do that already.
yeah.
Balfour Beatty's not here, but they're one of our partners for the construction management team. We have the architects. They brought me in from the outside. And yeah, mine's limited until we get this person to help transition it. So to answer your question, we're doing our best to make it sustainable so that no matter who's here, it goes on. Now, we took the entire needs assessment that we did and charted it out for the whole needs and how do we do that. And one of the things, and I brought that back to Mark, and we played more with the numbers. We also said, okay, at what point do all these bonds get exhausted and when do we have to go back out? So to answer your question directly, we're going to go as far as we can with the money we have and authorization we have, and then we'll have to make a determination to go back out, or how do we do the next steps? So that is in the planning part of it. You just don't see it yet because we're still working on what.
No, we see it now. I mean, this
Yeah,
is
but-
great. Yeah, I just
but
want to make
that
sure
answers your
this
question,
continues. And then
No.
knowing that there's a,
Well, that answers your question.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to have a lull again? We hope not.
yeah.
Mark made it very clear when he brought me on board back in March. I need
Yeah, that's why the
a program.
district's committed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to hear that. There's a
Yeah.
commitment to get these projects moving.
That's why we've already hired the architects, so
Yeah.
this is all in the works.
It's a big program.
Is it,
I find it exciting.
you guys do everything, design, bid, build, hire an architect, put it out for bids, is there any, I know Chula Vista does things a little different to Charter City, but, recently, I don't know what, I guess I probably should do more research, but I don't know what laws that you guys are under of the public contract code? Is it
Yeah.
so you're now able to do progressive design build? I'm just kind of wondering, have you guys looked at, I just know from, in my experience, when we do we look at, design bid build, it probably takes the most staff time to make a project happen. And if we do different models, we can deliver faster, and I feel like with same level of quality, but with less staff
Don't
time.
miss these back. Why don't you guys
Yeah.
use those?
I'm going to answer that you want. Traditionally, Chula Vista School District has used the design bid build and the construction management program. And they've done that. And mainly a lot of our projects, even though we've had new construction, so most of them have been driven by the maintenance and operations that we need to do to keep things going. And so that was very helpful. I personally have done design build and lease back alternative designs for what you're talking about. We are looking at those as possible delivery methods for our future projects. A little bit different to get some savings and the expediency up front. It just hasn't been done here like that. So when it gets to design build, prior to 2000, I think it was, school districts had no legal authority to do design build. So we used the lease back program as a design build mechanism. We were able to have 2 teams come in and we pay them up front to get our economy of scales, and there's a construction component. So it's like a design build. Since then, the laws have changed, and so we're moving back toward the school districts that would have to state. We are looking at that. It's more of a cabinet level decision and something that we've talked about inside. Our consultants all concur. For the new school, for the others, we might want a different approach, just to get us in there, out of there, and it working with the way we want it to work.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I think it works good for us. I'm proponent of it, so.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it myself.
Is that all your updates, right, Mark?
We still have a quorum.
I know, I thought I would read a little bit longer, but I'm gonna have to move forward with.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to skip 6 and 7 because we don't have a quorum, and we'll have to shelve. Because I don't think we can propose, or can we propose the meeting dates? Without,
Well, you could propose it, but you can't vote on it.
Yeah.
so they are what they are.
And did 5 o'clock work okay?
Right?
Having a door update, so try to get
I
in.
think it's a custodian.
Okay. So we'll bring back the minutes from the May 7th to the next meeting.
And I'm pretty
The election.
Meeting dates. And then any other items? I just wanna say thank you guys for volunteering. This is a great opportunity for the schools. You guys seem wonderful questions, really excited about having you on board. You to meet the rest of the committee. And then thank you guys. I really do appreciate these projects that you guys, it's really exciting to see these
Yeah.
things. The water stations, it's all a buzz. I know it sounds something small, but it's a really big deal to kids. It is. It's hot out there and water's really, they've been asking for it for a few years. So you guys really made that happen and that was wonderful.
Yeah.
So much that people want more, I guess. So you get 2 water stations. And then that's all I have. Anybody else have a comment or discussion item?
No, on my part, I just wanted to thank Jessica Mascareno for calling me today about this meeting. It appears that you had my wrong email on file.
Okay.
And so I appreciate the extra effort to receive the call because I didn't realize that you were even meeting today. So I wanted to thank her and you, Mark, for the leadership in making that effort. I wouldn't have been here otherwise. I had no idea. So thank you for that clerical support. I really appreciate that. I think for me, I really, the community does reach out to me via our social platforms about improvements in the community. And so one of the things that I wanted to mention is as much as you're able to get us out there for the new members, I think it would be good for us to think about planning ahead. Because I think that once I got to see the Maxwell Transportation Facility, it really kind of brought to light what we see on these slides.
Mhm.
And so, and if you can go back to see the report that was done in May, I don't know if you've had a chance to see the board meeting, it gives you the recap of last year. So I think it might give you a good
We can
introduction.
send that out.
Yeah, that would be great if you could. I didn't even think about that, Mark, thank you. But welcome, we look forward to working with everybody on the committee, and welcome. It's definitely a learning curve, but I think you're gonna see the inside of the infrastructure. So, good to meet you both.
All right, well, no, thank you for, this is very interesting. I'm not as well spoken or formal, but I did have a couple more questions and since we're in the open discussion portion. So just, I'm not sure, so we meet quarterly, so it would be December when we meet again. What is so we got an update, a briefing, we asked some questions. Other than that, what's kind of and I'm looking at this, I will read this after, but the roles and responsibilities essentially is there, are there items that are brought to this group for approval? Is it just input? Is it kind of a community notification?
So it's really an oversight responsibility. So, approval of the contracts, prioritization and budget of the projects, all that is really the role of the governing board. So this committee, if for some reason, we presented on a project that either wasn't part of the ballot or, we thought might not be representative of what the measure was meant for, then that's when,
We
we
report
would.
to the board
Mhm.
as a committee,
Okay,
so we have to oversee.
Your
Stuff that's
advisory
what-
committee to the board
Yeah, and
on
then we,
whether or not we're complying with what
And
the
the
board has approved.
yeah, the community, and that's where we kind of put our take on things, and so we had certain things that we wanted to bring forth last year, so you'll see in the report there are comments.
so who prepares the report then?
We do.
We do.
We do.
Okay,
We do it
Yes.
with our staff support, yeah,
okay.
the designated staff.
And you
We
can
assist
present it.
on the things, but you tell us what you want to hear,
Yeah.
and Mark's been
Kind of build.
wonderful at accommodating, I think. for a
We
lot
kind of
these
start
issues.
building it in December, then
Yeah.
in spring, and then we present in May.
Okay.
This is also very helpful. When I came on board, they gave me an onboarding of the bylaws. This kind of talks about our scope of responsibility. What
Okay,
we're responsible for as a member of the ICOC.
okay.
What if there's items we wanna see on the agenda? What would be the way to go in this committee? I guess I have never.
Yeah, I usually call the predecessor of Jessica.
Are there any other items right now, or, I mean, as a chair, we can work with
I
you
know there was the
beforehand.
report that came out for the bidding procedure issue. And that an attorney did, is that should be a public report, right? So what their findings and recommendations on, did they have any findings on public contract code or adherence? Because there was accusations made. And then
No,
there
there
was,
was no findings.
the whole report just said there was no finding.
Uh,
There was no recommendation.
No
I haven't seen the report myself.
That's what I was saying, is
Yeah.
that a public report that you can kind of at least have a copy available, because that involves things we would oversee as a committee, right? The bidding process itself. Construction bidding. It's something
I'm
I
not sure
think
if that's part of the purview of this committee, but definitely is.
oversee if there was a concern. Taxpayer funds. I don't know, because they did report out that there was no, I don't know what they reported out, it wasn't really clear. But anyway, just something to put out there, I was curious, I guess I can always request a report myself, as a citizen. If it's public.
Is the report published? I mean, do you know that,
They
Mark, or
reported
no?
out,
You would have to make a public record.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it's not public, okay.
the only thing that could be a little difficult is because I think an attorney conducted it, so they might use the.
Attorney-client
Yeah.
privilege.
So, anyway, just throw it out there, can't let go of it. So,
Okay. Is there like any, I'm just trying to, frame of reference and stuff, like, my job sometimes for, we'll take things to city council for approval. And a lot of times, a required step in that process is presenting to a citizens oversight committee. They don't have a role as like approving, but there is like a recommendation, and then we include that in, the item that goes to council. Is that kind of, so will there be, I mean, sometimes, we have something that we need to get done, and a lot of times the citizens oversight committee accommodates that and holds a special meeting. If we have something that we need to prioritize or get moving. Does that happen? Is there anything like that?
No, there's not a need to come through this committee to approve the projects for the park.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, it's council approval, but it's, they won't approve it necessarily without recommendation.
So that's, yeah, they want to see from the board or from their oversight committee first, but
Yeah. And nothing like, doesn't function that way necessarily. Okay.
Mark, is there any way to get the committee or to send the needs assessment report that we looked at last year?
I can,
Oh, what?
Yeah,
oh yeah, it's on the website.
Yeah.
I'm right,
Yeah.
it's fine. Lisa,
maybe you could take.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, that would
we
be.
can actually pull it up now if you want.
it should be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send a link.
To answer
Yeah.
your question, I've had some clients that we would have, whenever we have a list of projects, the board has to approve those lists. But a lot of times, I've had some clients who'll say, we want the advice of the oversight committee before it comes to us. We know it's not, so it's tentative, subject to board approval. But that way, we can give the recommendation, and that was sincere. So I have had at times in there, every once in a while, we've had to have a special meeting. That's when we try to convene everybody, get the thing, and we do the, in those cases, we do the whole 72-hour notice just to make sure it was out there. But there is that ability, it's up to each individual district and how they handle their oversight committee.
That was way that they get to.
Yeah.
interesting. Thank you for.
It's all work, no bite. I know, it's a really interesting. It's required by law, so we're here because it's required by, if you, I mean, that's ultimately
If
it,
you use a Prop 39 methodology, it's required by law. But I remember very clearly when it was going through the legal process, most non-Prop 39 bonds had some kind of an oversight committee anyway. You know, so it's like, this is no harm, no foul. You know?
And I mean, as a member of the community, you know,
Yeah,
your goal also is to educate the community so that they know about what projects are going on and things like that. So,
oversight. Because I don't, I mean, ultimately, really just feedback. But yes, we report on it to the board, and if we had any special concern, and I've seen that in my career, people reporting, of oversight committees reporting their concerns of the program directly to the board. So that puts it back on the board to have to take ownership of that. Okay, I'm going to, oh no, you have comments. No.
Thank you for being on the committee. It's great to have this opportunity. I'm pretty involved already at the district, and so to have this opportunity is great. And I will do my best to be as helpful and positive, and I will be coming to all the meetings. I have it all calendared out, so I will be here to help out. Yes.
we have your right email.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. I've been getting all of them. It's great.
Yes, thank you guys again. And then I will call to adjourn the meeting at 6:24.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.